Hi, Linda Bowen here from StampingWithLinda.com, your cardiologist since 1997, helping you create cards from the heart. Today is Tuesday in Creative Fold, and I am featuring a creative fold that I learned from my downline member, Sue Floyd from Akron, Ohio. This is called a faux step card. Now, I love step cards, but don't always like all the cutting and scoring. So this is just a card that goes together very quickly. I am using the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper and the Flowering Tulip bundle. Now this bundle is my featured exclusive customer appreciation tutorial this month. You can head over to my blog, StampingWithLinda.com, to learn how you can get that tutorial free with a qualifying order. Now I am using that paper, and I did a video before showing you how to assemble the tulips, but I love the tulips in these paper. It has like a brush of white on the tulips. So I wanted to show you how I did that. Now I have the Calypso Coral. I'm going to bring in my Whisper White stamp pad. I'm going to take my bone folder and kind of curl the pieces of the die cut tulip. This just makes it have a little more texture. Then I'm going to take my sponge dauber. I'm going to go in and grab some white. I'm just tapping it off because I just want streaks of white on that Calypso Coral. So I've got that. I'm going to grab a small dimensional and put that on the back of this piece. Now one thing with the tulips, you can layer them as much as you want. There's like 3 different layers, and you can use 3, 1, or 2 on each tulip depending on how thick you want them. So I've got that, you know, and I think I'm going to put this on this side. There are score lines. There are embossed lines also. And so depending on how you want to assemble that. Now I'm just taking my glue dot and I'm adding it on each side of that flap. Would have helped if I got my Pick-a tool instead of my finger, but I guess that's going to work out okay. Because we have taken our bone folder, you'll see that we've got depth to that tulip. Now we're just going to brush it again with that dauber so that we have the white streaks like in the Designer Series paper. And with that, we're ready to assemble our card. Now, like I said, this is a piece of the Flowering Fields Designer Series paper. It measures 3 by 4. Have another piece that is 1 by 4. Then I have a piece of Pool Party, and this measures 2 1/4 by 5 1/4, and I have used the Hive embossing folder on that. I then have a label that came from the Bouquet of Love hybrid embossing folder, and I stamped the Thinking of You in real red, and this is from the Special Moments stamp set. I have a piece of basic white 3 by 4, and I stamped in the real red, No One Deserves a Happier Birthday Than You, and this comes from the Flowering Tulips stamp set. So let's go ahead and get started in scoring our card. Now this card base is a little bit different in size. It's 4 1/4 by 9, and the first score line we're going to make is 1 1/4. I'm going to do it on this side because I like to do that with the smaller images so that I make sure that I have a straight score line. So you've got 1 1/4, and then we are going to do 2 1/2. And finally 5 3/4. So that gives us our step. So we're going to just make sure that we have nice crisp score lines. So this is what our card base looks like. So we have a Mountain Valley Mountain fold, and then I have another piece of the Mossy Meadow. This measures 2 1/2 by 11, and it's 5 1/2, scored at the 5 1/2 along the 11. We're going to go ahead and take our embossed piece and add some stamping seal. Sometimes it's hard to get Stamping Seal Plus to go on our embossed images. So I'm just going to add that to the Mossy Meadow. And add that piece. Then we're going to bring in our card base, bring in our smaller piece of Designer Series paper, and that will go on our first step. Like so. Our flowering tulips will go on our next step. Like so. Our greeting is going to go in the inside. And now we're ready to put our faux step on. Now I choose to put my adhesive on this piece. I don't want to put too much, but I want to make sure that I have enough that will hold it to my card. So I've got the two ends, and then I like to set my card straight down like so. Lay this, I know it's hard to see on the video, but I'm just putting this right over top and pushing it down to the bottom so that it's nice and even. And then now we have our faux step card. Love that look. Now it's time to assemble our tulips. I'm going to use dimensionals. I think I'm going to grab my larger dimensionals for my tulips and put them on the front of my card. By having the larger and smaller dimensional, it just gives you more dimension up and down for your card. But when you assemble the tulips with the dimensional underneath, it's easier to then add your stem. Oops. That dimensional wanted to bring both backings up. Got like so. Then we're going to go in with our glue dot and just take the stem and add a glue dot and tuck it underneath our tulip. Let's go ahead and do this one first. We kind of want our stems to meet somewhat in the middle. I just dropped my small stem on the ground here. Let me grab it. So we've got this one. I'm going to tuck that under the white. And put that right inside if I can. Nope, doesn't want to go. There we go. And then we finally got our last stem. Then we're going to add our leaves. I find that when I'm watching TV that I just have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine close by, and when I have a bundle of product like this, I just cut out a bunch of leaves and the flowers. Then I can go back in and assemble them later. But when I'm watching TV, I just have my scrap piece of paper there and can die cut a bunch of the pieces, and then they're just ready to go. So I have got my verse, and we're going to go ahead and see exactly where